This show is brought to you by Directory.com, the safest way to hire a contractor.
And we are back. Our next story is $133,000 lien that backfired and contractors still got paid. I absolutely love liens as a topic. We do talk about liens a lot. Adam, what's the story here?
Well, this is the biggest dollar story we got today. A guy named Scott Newman hired Sony Construction to build an addition and outdoor kitchen. Um, so what went wrong was Sony stopped the work, claiming that Newman failed to pay and filed a lien for over $133,000, but later reducing it to $99,000. An interesting point we'll get to. And the homeowner countersued, accusing the contractor of filing a fraudulent lien and breaching the contract. So the case was split. First, the court would decide if the lien was legal or legitimate, and then the contract issues. And so the evidence that they had is the court found many of the charges were not lienable, like non-construction or unrelated costs. The judge said it amounted to like willful exaggeration, making it fraud. So they just kind of like piled on, right? Then, so like the outcome was the lien was struck down. However, the court still found Newman owed the contractor $59,000 for breach of contract and increased that bill to $81,000 with interest. So the attorney's fees kind of fight then came up after that. So both sides asked for the attorney's fees to be covered. The court denied both sides' requests for full attorney fees, but did award the contractor $10,000 for some costs, and the homeowner didn't get anything because he was the losing party, even though he was right about the fraudulent lien. And so the takeaways for homeowners here, I think, with this one is like, think carefully before refusing payment, right? This is, you don't really like, it isn't always the lever that you want to pull. Try to resolve issues outside of court because there's no guarantee of getting your attorney's fees. Itemized invoices really matter. If something looks suspicious, question it early. And winning on one issue isn't always enough. Even if you want to prove like a contractor's lien is fraudulent, you can still lose on other contract terms and claims and end up paying money anyways. So it kind of always goes back to the first one. It's like, don't just use the refusal to pay as your lever because it tends to make things escalate.
Great point, Adam. Rory, you've been a general contractor for like 20 years. Um, as a contractor, how do you feel? Like, what do you usually do when you feel like homeowner just delaying the payment? For me, it's like the fastest path to destroy a relationship with the contractor. If you pay contractor on time, if you're the homeowner and you want the job to be done on time, if you want a good communication, if you want your contractor to treat you with a priority, especially the busy one, you're not only homeowner they have, but if you want that, like you go to the restaurant, if you tip well, if you give good money to the waiter right away, if you start on the right foot, you're going to get, always going there in the future, better service. The same here. If fast to pay the deposit, progress payment, you probably going to get superior service. And if you're hard to reach and hard to get that money, the contractor probably going to be waiting, to prioritize you. Rory, would you agree?
I do. I remember at the roofing process conference, the Tommy Mello said that was one KPI that they measure, like on a monthly basis. They look at how fast, I believe it was Tommy Mello, how fast does a client pay? And I thought that was really good. And it's something that we've actually in the last 45 days, like we dug into our production and like really started kind of auditing some of we have a really nice production coordinator, but didn't understand kind of a lot of the subtle communication. Like in our contract, it says paid within 3 days. And really that's more of a reference. I'm not going to enforce that, you pay within 3 days of agreed upon time and less terms, right? But it's heuristic where they might join the witness protection program and intend to do it later and get really busy, and it's not a priority when they don't have leverage. Water's not pouring into their home at that moment to pay the deposit like it was the first time. So it can be a challenge for them. So Jay is really good about, meeting them there, doing the walkthrough at the very same time. It's really important, and go over those things and accompany, getting paid with, that that portion, but still offering value, still holding professionalism, and then still letting them know we have teeth, we're nice, but I'm here to collect the money. If you feel led, good review, whatever, but and keep our posture. Also, in the whole point with the lien, if I may, a lien is only a part of the entire process. Sometimes they want to major on the minors, a minor on the majors. Here in Washington State, when you sign the contract, they have a notice to customer, state of Washington, explaining that this contractor has the right. It's really the only right at that time that we have is to lien that property. If they didn't sign that notice, then we can lien, but it can be removed. Then we give a notice, a 10-day notice that we are, because of this, we are going to file that lien. And what we do is we draft up the official complaint as we were going to file it. We submit that with the notice, because that's usually, we've tried 2 months. Because it's a 90-day period. The 90-day period. Usually that'll do it. You draft up the complaint with the note, with the filing that we're going to file with the notice. So it's all together, that it's already drafted. We've already paid the attorney to start the process with the lien. This will be recorded on this date, which is 10 days out. And then that's usually enough to bring them back to communication, but it's so rare. It should be rare too.
Of course.
Yeah.
I looked up some of the stuff that they tried to lien for that wasn't lien. Do you guys want to know what it was?
Sure.
So things they tried to lien for that were ultimately considered to be not lienable by any stretch of the imagination was they tried to lien for pool cleaning chemicals and services, hand tools that they purchased for use at the job, but weren't going to leave at the house when they were done. And they even left for rental equipment that they rented and then they abandoned at the site, and they basically tried to, they didn't take the rental equipment back to the rental store and tried to lien them for the rental equipment. So that was all this $82,000 worth of stuff that kind of got stripped out. They also tried to charge $15,000 for supervision, and $22,200 for profit, a 20% profit margin. So they kind of just threw everything but the kitchen sink at the lien, and then that's all the stuff that got stripped out. But it's funny that they would try to charge we bought a handsaw or a circular saw for the job, but they're not going to leave that tool there. So it's just kind of interesting the depth to which they went.
Well, I'm not a fan of Sony Construction. I think here's my take on this story, and I feel like this is where you go to the media. This is where I would fight this kind of company with social media, with the reviews, because my take on the story is Sony Construction, whoever runs it, just decided to express kind of I see what I can do, kind of for almost like a bullying the homeowner. Oh, you're not going to pay me, or you're not going to I have my lien rights, right? I'll do this to you. And they pretty much start blaming. So probably project was taking longer. I mean, it's a big project. You have addition, outdoor kitchens. Usually those projects takes month to do. So they probably were frustrated or whatever, was bad blood between homeowners and them. I mean, there's probably a reason why homeowner did not want to pay. And my guess that contractor here was you know what? If I take you to court, and we all can do it, every single one of us can find a reason to sue, bully, show muscles, kind of I'm bigger than you, I have more rights than you, because there's no homeowners that perfect, there's no contractors that perfect. And the contractor probably did purchase those hand tools for that job, did have those expenses like rental equipment and stuff, and now they're spending the money, they're running supervision, and the homeowner is delaying the payment, and they're you know what, I can file a lien if I want to, because I have all of these expenses and you're not paying me and you will owe me money. I've seen it so many times. Contractors have sometimes bigger than average egos, and they just want you to know that and what they can do and how what superpowers they have, and they have lawyers and stuff. And then it's hard to remove that lien. Once the lien is filed, now you have to hire a lawyer and prove that lien was fraudulent. I mean, good luck with that. But this homeowner, I mean, in my opinion, both homeowner and a contractor lost here. So it's always a good idea to work it out, sit at the table, maybe hire a third party, well, almost like a counselor. Just, hey, here's my side of the story, here's his side of the story. Who do you think is right? Before you go to the court and spend $100,000, on the case, might as well come to the kitchen table to talk.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Makes a lot of sense.
But look at this. So the court still found Newman owed the contractor $59,000 for breach of contract and increased that to $81,000 with interest. So that was interesting light. So looks to me that judge was reasonable, and they're like, okay, we pretty much discovered that whatever they're trying to, first of all, the contractor cannot just bill for everything. Like a lot of contractors, they say, well, I do this, I do, like, yeah, but maybe you underestimated the job. Maybe you should own the equipment, not rent the equipment. So that goes with the price. So he definitely could not charge for everything he charged. But the judge, on the other hand, said, you know what, they owe you $59,000. Now I'm going to make it $81,000 with interest. So I did like that. Seems to me like reasonable judge. But the court denied both sides' requests for full attorney fees, but awarded the contractor $10,000 for some costs. So very.
I wonder why that is, where they deny the attorney's fees, because usually that's pretty standard.
Well, because they both were in the wrong. I think they both were kind of, I don't like the story. I think both were not reasonable to some degree. Like they
sounds like they both figured they were going to win in court, and they were obstinate about it. And it probably took some time with the $30,000, $20,000 in interest.
Yes.
Like, it's a lot of time, I'm assuming.
It is. It is a lot of time. When we come back after the break, we're going to have another kitchen remodel nightmare. And also, both sides look like got burned in that story as well. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.